Hi, Sally Walker here, your hormone expert, and welcome to my hormone blog. Today I'm going to answer a question from Patricia. So Patricia writes, Dear Sally, I'm 45 years of age and I feel tired all the time. So she's saying it's not just a physical tiredness, so it's not quite so easy to run up the stairs as before, but it's more a mental, emotional thing. She said, the things that used to give me pleasure just don't seem to give me any pleasure anymore. I just feel I can't be bothered. Is this something to do with peri-menopause, she's asking? Is it something to do with the hormone changes which are happening? So Patricia, thank you very much for your question. I'm sure there's lots of ladies out there listening here and saying, oh, that sounds like me. Because yes, this is absolutely a symptom of perimenopause and absolutely has to do with a hormone imbalance. So ladies, remember that if you get a symptom somewhere between the age of 40 and 50, you must consider the three hormones being produced in your ovaries: testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. Is there an imbalance here? This is very, very likely. So for 45 years of age, Patricia, you're sort of in the middle of things. Now, I obviously don't know when your mum went through menopause. I don't know anything more about if you have other symptoms, the regularity of your cycle, etc. You've just written that you're tired all the time. So tiredness is a symptom which many people do suffer with. But the tiredness, the mental, emotional tiredness related to your perimenopausal time is much more specific. So there could be many hormones involved here, but as I said, initially you need to address those three hormones because we do know that they are changing. So testing is always good. So let's get those tested. Doctor, get some blood tests done for the different hormones. Do urine testing for the different hormones could be very good. So the estrogens, the progesterones, the testosterones, possibly even looking at the brain hormones, LH and FSH, so luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, which are telling the ovaries to produce their hormones. So have a look at those, get those measured again with blood testing could be a good idea. And then other hormones that you need to consider at this time would be your thyroid. So getting your hormones checked here. So there would be the TSH, which is the hormone coming from the brain, from the pituitary. There would be the thyroid hormones, the one called T4 and the other one called T3. And T3 being the active hormone, so the one which is actually telling your cells to produce energy. So looking at these three hormones through blood testing would be a good thing to do as well. And then there's the hormone called cortisol. So cortisol is our stress hormone, and if we are producing a lot of this hormone, then it will also have a negative effect on the production of the thyroid hormones, but it will also have a negative effect on the production of the hormones from the brain, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, which could then have this knock-on effect of decreasing the production of the ovarian hormones. So it's not just the three hormones, though possibly the decline of the three hormones has the knock-on effect with the other two hormones. But it's like a melting pot, and it's a cocktail of the different hormones. So each one of them should be addressed. But measuring, so how do you measure cortisol? Well, cortisol is best measured through urine, and it can be done in different ways. You can get your doctor to do a 24-hour collection or do a private test where you will be testing your urine through 4 specific points in a day. And then you get to see what cortisol looks like through the day. You also get to look at different metabolites of cortisol, which give a much bigger picture than just taking it in a blood test. Which doesn't give a lot of information unless you are seriously, seriously low or seriously, seriously high and have disease states called Addison's and Cushing's. But getting a picture of the hormones is important, and especially because you're 45 and in perimenopausal times, there will be several hormones. So to get you sorted, Patricia, you should get a bigger picture. But just looking at what solutions could possibly be, well, when we look at brain health, we know that estrogen is a major player because estrogen helps with glucose metabolism. So glucose, sugar, is your brain's preferred fuel source, and estrogen helps with its metabolism. So as we lose our estrogen, the ability to metabolize glucose becomes impaired, and that means that your brain cells are not going to be producing as much energy, so they're not going to be doing their jobs as well as they used to. So what does the brain do? Well, lots of things obviously, but it's very much responsible for producing hormones and neurotransmitters, which help the brain function. So if the cells can't produce all the hormones and neurotransmitters, then your brain is not going to function as well as it did, and you're going to be affected emotionally and mentally, and also cognitively. Your memory, your ability to make decisions, etc., etc. All of these things can be changed during menopausal times. So possibly supporting estrogen. This could be done through supplementation, possibly through some of the food supplementations. This could be a way to do it, but it would be good to get a picture of where your estrogen is. If you'd like to know more about the brain and estrogen, Dr. Lisa Mosconi, she's an expert here, and she's looking into the powers of estrogen related to brain health. So have a little look at her. Testosterone and GABA also affect our brain, absolutely. So getting to know what levels they are, if they need to be supported in any way. And then the thyroid, obviously, if that needs to be supported, then there will be some hormone replacement therapy there, possibly. But it could also be that there needs to be some supplementation, there needs to be food support. There could be different reasons why the thyroid is not functioning. So get to know if that is out of balance or if that's okay. And then related to cortisol, well, cortisol we call the stress hormone, but it's also the body's major anti-inflammatory. So two things to look at there. You need to look at stress, what is stressing you, and you need to look at inflammation. Do you have pain anywhere, joint pains, chronic pains, that kind of thing? Then you will have an increased need for cortisol, which is the body's biggest anti-inflammatory. So think a little bit about the inflammation. So related to the stress, or related to cortisol here, it would be good to look for its natural rhythm, to look after its natural production rhythm. So I basically divide the day up into 2 lots of 12 and say between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. you should be producing cortisol in good levels. You should be active here, you should feel good. And then between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. You should be more resting. Your need for cortisol should be much less here. And while cortisol is lower, then the hormones that build and repair you can be produced and they can work. So we get a balance. Cortisol is your major breakdown hormone. So you break down through the day to make glucose, you can make energy. And during the night, you build and repair where cortisol is low. So think a little bit about that 6 p.m. Cutoff time to help with blood sugar, to help with cortisol. Think about the 6 p.m. cutoff time. So this is where you should be thinking of being more rested, and you should be finishing with your food for the day as much as possible. And sleep, make sure that you're getting good quality sleep. Do what is necessary there, and preferably from around 10 o'clock at night. We need to be getting around 7-8 hours of good quality sleep. So, make sure you're relaxing in the evening, make sure your bedroom's dark, and make sure it's cool while you're sleeping, etc. There's lots of different things that you can look at, lots of supplements that can be looked at to bring calm in the nervous system to help you sleep. But sleep is absolutely essential for balancing cortisol. So, Patricia, I hope it's given you some kind of answers related to your mood and related to you can't be bothered. But I would also like to finish here by saying that, ladies, the area or the period of time, the peri-menopause, we call it the change. you will change. You will change physically, mentally, emotionally. You will not be the lady that you were before, but that doesn't mean to be negative. We can create ourselves again. We will become a newer, shinier version of ourselves. But we just need to have some guidance. We need to make sure that we're supporting hormone production as much as possible, both our own natural production and possibly by supplementing. But more of that another day. So, Patricia, as I said, I hope you've got some answers that you can use, and I hope you other ladies that are listening had got some answers as well. If you have a symptom that you'd like me to talk about, if you have some hormones which have gone out of whack, write me an email, sw@sally-walker.com, and I will answer in one of my hormone blogs. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, happy hormones, happy life.